The village in it with a map and a plan. No place too tiny for this determined man. Crossing the counties one by one, you'll see in every English corner a bit of history.
Welcome back to Cheshire East again, everybody, for round number 2. Now, yesterday we saw the parish of Great Warford, and if you watched that episode, you'll remember that I'm doing a continuous walk around the pair of Warford villages. So let's carry on with that walk. We've seen Great, now it's time for Little. Welcome to Little Warford. Little Warford, Little Weirford. Continuing our walk from yesterday, in this episode we're going to explore Little Warford, a tiny place with a huge healthcare landmark right at its centre. Little Warford has a population of under 300 people. As a parish, it's one of the newest in Cheshire, having only been created in 1951. It used to be part of the larger Warford, which was abolished and split into 2 parts. Both of them are now separate parishes, and we'll see Martle later this week. Little Warford can be defined by one main street, Mill Lane. It covers the area between the Stag's Head pub, where we left off yesterday, and the Pedley Brook, where there was once a mill that gives this road its name. Little Warford also covered Sandlebridge, the area that gave its name to the feeble-minded colony founded by Mary Dendy. Healthcare is very much at the centre of this community, much like it was in Great Warford. The difference is that Little Warford still has its healthcare buildings, and they are still very much in use. Right in the middle of Mill Lane is the massive David Lewis Centre, which provides medical, educational, residential and assessment services for people with epilepsy and other neurological conditions. It was founded by the David Lewis Trust, named for the man behind the famous Lewis's department store created in Liverpool back in 1856. The parish contains one listed building, a house from the 17th century known as the Wheelwrights Shop. We'll catch that too. And we'll end by crossing the Mary Dendy playing fields back to Great Warford. It's time to have a look at the map. So this is the area that today forms the modern Little Warford parish. As you can see, back in 1900, the former Warford parish was marked, as this was 49 years before it was split into 2. Little Warford and Martle are today divided by the Pedley Brook in the west. To the east, the boundary with Great Warford runs between Sandlebridge Farm and the Stag's Head. Now, if things were the same as they are on this map, this would be a very short episode. Little Warford was wholly agricultural and had lots of fields surrounding Mill Lane. The area to the south is now a lot different, occupied by the David Lewis Centre. To the north are further healthcare buildings on the fringes of the Mary Dendy playing fields. You can also clearly see the mill here, which gives Mill Lane its name. That stood on the Pedley Brook at Sandlebridge, the crossing point for the road. Let's get started with the eastern end of Mill Lane. After crossing the boundary from the Stag's Head, the first thing you notice on this map would be the lack of buildings. There is one building on here that's of note, and it's still standing. It's called the Wheelwrights Shop. It's the only listed building in Little Warford. Walk through Little Warford now though, and you're met with an array of others. On the right hand side there are former council houses, whilst on the left is the David Lewis Centre. Here's the houses. Like the ones in Great Warford, these would have been built for healthcare workers working at the Mary Dendy Hospital, Highgrove, or perhaps the David Lewis. Here's the Wheelwrights Shop. This is late 17th century, made of red English garden wall bond brick with a stone slate roof. A stone tablet on the wall indicates it was re-roofed in 1966. So to the David Lewis Centre. This is also known as the David Lewis National Epilepsy Centre or the David Lewis School. It's run by the David Lewis Trust. It provides residential accommodation, education and health services to people with epilepsy, autism, learning and physical disabilities. The charity's gross income, which is in the region of £30 million or more annually, comes mainly from local authorities. It employs over 800 staff. The trust was founded in 1893 to continue the work of the Victorian philanthropist David Lewis, who died 7 years previously. In the late 19th century, there was no proper accommodation for epileptics, who were often housed in workhouses or asylums. This changed in 1902, when this site was purchased by the trust and the building of a purpose-built colony for epileptics could begin. It consisted of a series of detached villas, with each one accommodating 24 patients. In total, it could provide homes for 130 men, 130 women, and 36 children. As well as accommodation, the colony also provided a residential school for pupils of all classes. In 1911, children were moved to a new residential school at Sos Moss. That move provided more space for adult colonists, but in 1914 it was decided that the colony should have its own school again, leading to the foundation of the Colthurst School. The 1950s saw rapid developments in medical understanding and treatment of epilepsy, such as the introduction of the new drug mycilene in 1951. The 1960s saw close collaboration with Manchester University, who undertook research into the problems affecting epilepsy. New clinical and assessment units were opened in 1973. The centre is still actively treating people with severe forms of epilepsy, but now treats other conditions including autism. It celebrated its 120th anniversary with a visit from the Duchess of Edinburgh, who officially opened a new college building at the same time. So, given all that, who was David Lewis? Let's find out. David Lewis was the son of Wolf Levy, a Jewish merchant. He settled in Liverpool in 1840 and changed his surname from Levy to Lewis, working for Benjamin Hyam & Co., a tailor's. By 1856, he had accumulated enough capital to start his own business as a boys' clothier in Ranelagh Street. He would go on to be the man behind the Lewis's department stores, a chain which operated between 1856 and 2010. The first store, in Liverpool city centre, was the chain's flagship. The Liverpool store, which is still standing, opened in 1856, initially selling men's and boys' clothing, with Lewis himself mostly manufacturing his own stock. In 1864, Lewis's branched out into women's clothing. In the 1870s, the store expanded and added departments, including shoes in 1874 and tobacco in 1879. Lewis had a motto, friends of the people, and it was his intention for any shopping experience to be wholly inclusive for everyone. By 1877, Lewis's had grown enough to expand beyond Liverpool. There was a second store built in Manchester that year, and by 1885 there was a third one in Birmingham. A fourth store opened in Sheffield in 1884, but proved unprofitable and closed just 4 years later. Nonetheless, Lewis's continued to grow. During those formative years, Lewis's opened the first ever Christmas grotto in 1879. Entitled Christmas Fairyland, it was a concept devised by David Lewis himself. It was a staple of Liverpool's festive season, with many generations of children given the opportunity to visit Father Christmas there. By 1938, Lewis's had taken over the Royal Welsh Warehouse, the company that started large-scale mail order. By 1951, it had purchased the famous London department store Selfridges, expanding that brand by adding Moultons of Ilford in 1962 and rebranding it Selfridges. In 1966, the group launched Miss Selfridge Fashions, which later became a store chain in its own right. Lewis's even had a branch on Blackpool Promenade. Sited next to the world-famous Blackpool Tower, the building had a distinctive 1960s design with a turquoise-tiled exterior. Seemingly, all was well, but behind the scenes, Lewis's faced issues. The company went into administration several times. In 1991, as a result of a combination of problems, Liverpool-based competitor Owen Owen bought several branches. They continued to trade as Lewis's, although the branch in Leicester traded independently for a short while. Other branches, including the Birmingham store, closed down. After the closure of the Manchester store in 2001, only the original Liverpool store continued to trade under the name. It was sold in 2007 to Virgo Retail Limited and closed in 2010. So of course I haven't been able to get really close to the David Lewis Centre for a good reason, because it's set back from the road and I don't want to intrude on people's privacy, especially not when we're dealing with people who need a lot of care. But you can see the building from this bridleway which runs down the side of it. This is about the closest I've got to the building. You can see how magnificent it is even from this distance. There's another good reason to check out this bridleway as well, because on the other side of it there's a community orchard. That's this area here. I imagine people from the David Lewis Centre often come and sit in this when the weather's nice. Back to the map. After passing the David Lewis Centre, you're then heading towards Sandlebridge, the name given to Mary Dendy's original feeble-minded colony. Sandlebridge is only referred to on here by way of a farm, but the name also applies to the actual bridge that crosses the Pedley Brook, Little Warford's parish boundary. Of note here is the former mill. It was called Colthurst Mill, hence the name of the school, founded within the David Lewis Centre. You can also see a field between the site of the David Lewis Centre and the Buttermere Estate in Great Warford. That's occupied today by the Mary Dendy playing fields. Not a lot is known about the history of the mill. Otherwise, there's a small cul-de-sac that's been added close by, named Sandlebridge Rise. Other than the houses on Mill Lane, it accounts for most of the rest of Little Warford's population. Turning around, we can see another area which has a collection of houses these days, Sandlebridge Farm. Passing this will take us towards our final landmark, the Mary Dendy playing fields. This building is called the Hawthorns. It's a building associated with the David Lewis Centre, and it sits on the edge of the Mary Dendy playing fields. The playing fields are of course named after Mary Dendy, the founder of the Sandlebridge colony, which today we know as the Mary Dendy Hospital. Here's something quirky to finish with. There's a football team in these parts called Mary Dendy FC. They play in the Crewe and District Saturday League. From what I can gather, they're based in Chelford, a village we'll see very soon, but they play, or at least have played in the past, on this very recreation ground. You tend to find that football clubs and local history are usually linked together. Here in Little Warford, Mary Dendy FC provide that link very nicely. Okay, once through the Mary Dendy playing fields, we're then on a path which leads back to familiar territory. You should know where you are any second now, because we have come full circle. We have covered both of the Warford villages and we've ended up back in Great Warford. Here you go. This is the Buttermere Drive Estate, where we started yesterday, and my car is literally just down there. So that's 2 down in Cheshire East, and there's still 146 to go. Better get cracking, eh? We have covered both of the Warfords in one walk. That was a really interesting area, wasn't it? Lots to talk about, and great if you like your healthcare history. Cheshire is by no means just about that though. Tomorrow we're off deeper into the countryside as we take on a village that once had a nursery. The plant version, not the children's. See you there. Now, just before I go, remember, this video is part of a huge project to visit every civil parish in England. That's more than 10,000. These routes are pre-planned, and due to time constraints, I can't cover every detail or walk down every street. Please don't complain if this video missed something out. I pronounce names how I choose to. I am very aware that local dialect may vary, and I don't take kindly to criticism about this. You've been warned. It's impossible to know everything too. If this video was terrible, make your own. If you're a regular watcher of The Village Idiot, you're not the only one. If you've got a small business, why not use my videos to advertise it? Leave a comment below if you're interested. And finally, thanks for watching this episode, everybody. Give us a like and a subscribe if you've enjoyed this episode, and share it with your friends and relatives. It all helps to keep this mission going. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as The Village Idiot, and I'm out.